The killing of George Floyd has protesters demanding change, led by Black Lives Matter once again.
It's time for us to stand up in George's name and say, get your knee off our necks.
Special birthday celebration in Harlem tonight for the Rev Jesse Jackson, civil rights leader, social justice icon, turned 80. Dozens of people, including local leaders, gathered at the National Action Network headquarters to salute his historic work. Rev Jackson recovered from COVID last month. His family and friends say he is not slowing down.
If you, as a white person, would be happy to receive the same treatment that our black citizens do in this society, please stand. You didn't understand the directions. If you white folks want to be treated the way blacks are in this society, stand. Nobody's standing here. That says very plainly that you know what's happening. You know you don't want it for you. I want to know why you're so willing to accept it or to allow it to happen for others.
On a couch watching TV, go up feeling nothing but lazy, feeling to some nothing else to do, might as well go to the board and drop something brand new, feeling on the dice, throwing shit down, making me hard to the sound, about to stop, hungry that I'm up for the plug now, cause I found out you liking this. Would you want it back? Don't you want it back? Don't you want it?
Hey guys, my name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. You won't believe this. Let me read this to you. This is awesome. Sadio Mane, a Senegalese soccer star, earns $10.2 million a year. He shocked the world when they saw him carrying a cracked iPhone 11. He said, "Why would I want 10 Ferraris, 20 diamond watches, and 2 jet planes? I starved. I worked in the fields, played barefoot." He said, "I couldn't go to school. Now I can help people. I prefer to build schools and give poor people food or clothing. I have built schools and a stadium, provide clothes, shoes, and food for people in extreme poverty. In addition, I give 70 euros per month to all people from a very poor Senegalese region in order to contribute to their family economy. I do not need to display luxury cars, luxury homes, trips, and even planes. I prefer that my people receive some of what life has given me." Could you imagine if every rapper in America thought about this when it came to the poverty in their own hood?
I'll start by answering the question that I posed before, which is how much were the slave owners paid by the US government for freeing their slaves in 1865? And the answer is that in 1862, President Lincoln signed the Compensation Act to pay slave masters $300 for each slave they freed. This is the equivalent of approximately $8,000 in 2020, last year. And the source of this information is Emancipation Compensation, and it's in Wikipedia. There were about 4 million slaves in the USA in 1865. About 4 million slaves. So the slave masters got billions of dollars they got millions of dollars in for freeing the slaves in 1865, which in today's currency would be billions of dollars. Slavery was the main contribution to the Industrial Revolution in Britain and in Europe and in North America. And it is the source of wealth of many companies who started out accruing their wealth through sugarcane or cotton or tobacco, or providing services to those companies, services, inputs, and using the products that those services, those crops provided. And this includes the financial sector. And last time I mentioned two books, Capitalism and Slavery by Dr. Eric Williams, and Neocolonialism, Last Stage of Imperialism by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, two good books that document very much the role of slavery in capitalism in Europe, Britain, Europe, and North America. The US government compensated the slave masters, although their children still benefit, their offspring still benefit, and the United States and these other countries still benefit from the wealth of slavery. Each slave was promised 40 acres and a mule, but till today they got nothing. It's time for us to get reparation like the other races got. For example, the Jews and Japanese, they were paid compensation for their oppression during World War II. It's time for us to get our reparation, and reparation now for black business, development, and other investment, not for consumption.
We have a new car we want everyone to own, and it runs on nothing. Wild, untamed ideals just collided with reality. Introducing the world's first self-powered electric vehicle. You never plug it in because it charges itself, which gives you unlimited driving range, and its CO2 footprint is zero. Is the world ready for this? We're not sure. But what we do know is wherever we are going, it will take us there. The new Saith fully powered electric vehicle. Just turn it on and go. Saith, go change the world.
Welcome to the African Leadership Series, where we bring you great inspirational speeches of African leaders.
It's an honor to be here, of course. Thank you guys a lot for making the time to come out. And we always wanted to be in a position where our generation of Africa would be completely different from the average, because ultimately we felt that it wasn't enough action and we felt there wasn't enough communication. And as you know, as you follow how things move, it's the people that run countries. You know, our elected officials are there to serve us. And we have to be in a position where we can properly communicate whatever our issues are and properly communicate whatever it is that we're dealing with that they can help us overcome. So it's a team effort. It's impossible for them to make all the decisions without having the communication and having it opened enough to where we can clearly understand whatever our faults are, whatever our challenges are, and how do we overcome this together. So the Akon Light in Africa was built on those principles, and we wanted to be in a position where I can be able to take my resources as a diaspora, child of the diaspora rather, and being in a position where my parents were African and understood the cultures, taught me the cultures. My earlier part of my years, I was actually raised there, but I was actually born in the U.S. because they didn't want us to have any issues as far as immigrations coming back and forth. Those were challenges they themselves had faced. But it ultimately created a situation where I was able to view both sides and experience both cultures and understand the differences between America and Africa. And what's happened today and for the whole week actually has been something that's just been amazing, because it allowed us to be able to open up those avenues of communication and better understand each other and the challenges that we're facing and the cultures that we're actually experiencing. So within all of that, of course, one thing that always popped up was the one issue that Africa has been facing for years, which is the energy crisis. And it's been one of those challenges because the infrastructure hasn't already been set up. So Akon Lighting Africa was set up to create an avenue to start the beginning building process for infrastructure. But the problem was in the rural areas, which is the heartbeat of Africa, there was no lights, there was no energy. But one thing that we all can say is that Africa has the one benefit is that the sun is always there. We'll never run out of sun in Africa, which is free energy. So how do we utilize that and maximize that opportunity? So we created a solar project which would electrify those rural areas and allow us to be able to bring energy to those areas, which will and then create jobs for those locals and also create different avenues and opportunities for them to be able to work themselves back to the city and be more productive citizens to help build Africa moving forward. So that's been major for us as far as how do we move forward, but we also realized that we would have to depend and also utilize the diaspora, because we're clearly out here getting an education that is lacking in certain parts of Africa. And as much as Africa cherishes education, we just don't have the facilities and don't have, the resources, I mean, you have children out there that's walking miles and miles and miles for school and would do anything just for that education. Here in the States, we take that for granted. Like, we're skipping school. We're trying to find reasons not to go. We're calling in sick, or whatever the case may be. But you have children out there that understand what that value is and just don't have access to it. So it's almost to a point where we all have to play an equal role, because as humans in the humanitarian state of communication, we have to be there to fulfill needs of others that don't have it. And if we can be in a position where we can actually allocate whatever there it is they're missing, then we would want to be in that position to do it, because it overall helps the human race as a whole. And I think when we communicate and unite in a sense of that matter, we actually can build a better future for our children. Because I always think of my kids when I travel. Like, how will this be 10, 15 years from now when he or she is older and has to roll through these parts of the world? Will they be safe? Will they be able to be in a position where they can actually provide for their children as well? So as we're thinking, we always have to think future. And of course, as you know, the future is our children. So that's always been my main focus. And not only that, but the children are the future leaders. So ultimately, Akon Lighting Africa has wanted to put a footprint in the development of Africa and didn't want to be left out as we're moving forward. So we're trying to create a very simple, very cost-effective way of creating light and energy in areas of the rural areas of Africa that's just pretty much is absent at the moment. And then at the same time, we want to be able to create jobs and open up the doors for Africans to be able to provide for themselves and put them in positions where they also can create resources for themselves to be able to build their own country and be an asset now to building the rest of the world in a more physical way rather than just a way of pulling from the resources and taking out and nothing's coming back into the continent. So thank you.
If you like more African speeches like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to catch all our latest videos. Remember to leave your suggestions on the topics you would like us to cover in the comments below.
Cooling on a couch, watching TV. Go up, feeling nothing but lazy. Feeling to some nothing else to do. Might as well go to the board and drop something brand new. Feeling on the dice, throwing shit down. Making me hot to the sound. About to stop. Hungry, then I'm up for the puck now. Cause I found out you liking it. Don't you want it back? Don't you want it back? Don't you want it?
When you love two things as much as I do love farming, it's difficult to choose. But I could not see myself functioning without either of them. I'm on my farm in Ebony Park, Breadnut Valley. It is part of an agro park which is located in the area, the Ebony Park Agro Park.
Who is Dr. Watson?
Well, Dr. Watson, I like to say, is a country boy, born in West Kingston in 1966. Grew up in the hills of Clarendon. My family settled in a district named Orange River. I'm married to a country girl from Mount Moriah and St. Anne's. We have 2 kids. I went to Clarendon College. I'm a member of the class of 83, a very cordial group and a very productive group, a very patriotic group. I love sports. I love cricket. I still play my cricket. I play a lot of masters cricket around. I'm as much known as a doctor as known as a cricketer. I played Deadly Cup for 5 years.
You won? Any?
We never won. I thought 1 year we would have won Deadly Cup, but we were kicked out of the competition for no good reason. And I'm sure that year we would have beaten Stets, our long-time rival. I played schoolboy cricket for 5 years, and the only schoolboy team that ever beat us, including teams from the urban area, was St. Elizabeth Technical High School. And those guys were still very good friends. With our rivalry in Masters cricket lives on. I went to the National Youth Trials in 1985. I wasn't successful in making the national team at the time. And that might have caused me to decide to go and study, because I realized then that you could not play sports and be successful playing sports in Jamaica as an unemployed person, because our sports, cricket at least, wasn't a professional game at the time. You could not make a living from playing the game, so you would seek other options. So I went away. I studied medicine in Cuba, and came back, resumed playing cricket. And if it wasn't for an injury, then I thought I would have made the national team. I'm a very outdoors person, so it was only natural for me to have a significant outdoor activity. And what better outdoor activity to have other than farming? In farming, other than just enjoying being in the outdoors, it is a source of income. So it serves 2 purposes. Firstly, I got the land to lease from the Agro Invest Corporation, which is a government agency. I've been farming in Ebony Park for upwards of 8 years, although I used to farm in other areas before. We get the land to lease, and we are supplied with irrigation water through the National Irrigation Commission, because going into farming without water makes no sense. You have to have irrigation water. There can be challenge in terms of the NIC meeting the demands of the farm, but for most part we are able to survive on the water that we do get. My philosophy of farming is mixed agriculture. So I mix perennial crops, tree crops like avocado, coconut, ackee, with catch crops like mainly hot pepper, West Indian red hot pepper, and scallion. I also do cassava, and I will plant any crop I have a market for. Because for most crops, it's just about learning the correct husbandry and doing what needs to be done.
Okay, you said as long as you have a market, but you do your practice. So when do you get time to look market? Because I think your doctor take up most of your time, right?
Yeah. I'm a member of the Ebony Park Agro Cooperative 2016 Limited. We do most of our marketing through Ebony Park Agro Cooperative as a group. It makes it easier because then we can package our stuff and deliver them as a group. And that make a more efficient use of time. Because as you rightly said, I would not have the time to do all the deliveries.
Cooling on a couch, watching TV. Go up, feeling nothing but lazy. Feeling to some, nothing else to do. Might as well go to the board and drop something brand new. Feeling on the dice, throwing shit down. Making me hot to the sound. About to stop. Hungry, then I'm up for the plug now. Cause I found out you liking it. Don't you want it back? Don't you want it back? Don't you want it?
Generally, especially in the summer months when the mornings are quite long, I would be on my farm from like 5 o'clock. I might be spend 2.5 hours, and then I get home, get ready, and rush to work by 8. And so when in the shorter months now, sometimes I have to go to the gym because it's not possible to come to the farm to do my early morning exercise because I do work on my farm. There are some crops that I planted earlier which I would not plant them again even though I have them. Like June plum because they are not readily marketable. Breadfruit, it's not readily marketable. And the markets are very seasonal and it's a challenge to market crops like those. So I've progressively shifted from those crops into coconut, which is a much more marketable crop. I got into coconut production because of a friend who had a coconut water factory, and he had to go to Portland and the hills of St. Catherine to get coconut for his factory. So he encouraged me and got me the first set of coconut suckers to get into coconut production. Well, jelly, because jelly is the main thing I sell. I do sell some dry coconut, but mainly jelly. He buys from me at regular intervals. And we have other market like the little jelly man on the corner. I do a lot of sales to those persons as well.
How being a medical doctor assists you as a farmer?
Well, being a medical doctor, you know, we learn a lot of biochemistry and mechanism of how things work. You become very aware of how things work and what they do. You know that, for example, I try to use bioselective substances. That's a concept that you would have learned a lot in medicine, where, for example, a spray is not just a spray. A weedicide is not just a weedicide. If, for example, you have a field that is full of grass and your plant, the plant you're having is not related to the grass family, knowing that there's a bioselective weedicide that could get rid of the grass and possibly cost you less than doing it using manual labor like people weeding can be very helpful. So being trained as a doctor, I think, puts me in a position where I can actually be more scientific in my approach to farming, because the animal, which we are a part of, is a living being. A plant is just another living being. So a lot of the concepts that would apply to taking care of a human can be applied to taking care of plants.
have been in this for 8 years. How long have you been a doctor?
24.
Okay, what lessons have you learned along the way?
With the COVID challenge and the need for social distancing, some of my colleagues has encouraged me to host meetings on my farm. And it has been going very well so far, and we have had 2 meetings and we'll be having a next one because of popular demand. Because it's an outdoor area, so in future, as I remember when I applied for the land to lease from AIC, you know, part of my plan was to include some amount of entertainment on the farm. So I plan to might be in the not too distant future have a few cabanas for rent and things like that, and might be able to host events like weddings and so on in the future, because it was always part of my plan. So when they asked me for this, I said, this is a training opportunity for me.
If I should ask you which of the 2 professions you love the most, what should you say and why?
Well, when you love 2 things as much as I do love farming, it's difficult to choose. But I could not see myself functioning without either of them.
From what you have been doing over the 8 years, any insight, any advice?
Well, when you get into farming, you have to be open to learn. I read as much about farming as I do about medicine in order to keep up to date. There are always new substances coming, new pesticides coming in that you have to learn about. Just like in medicine, there are always new drugs, things like that. So it is important for you to come with an open mind. Make sure that you are prepared to work. Make sure that you are prepared to ride it out when things are tough, because in agriculture and farming, the difficult times are many. Whenever you hear of a trough or a tropical depression or a hurricane coming, you know that is a challenge. That's a challenging time, because quite often after those natural events, even more so than a drought, it's like you have to start over again. And you could have a field and you're counting the profits from that, potential profits from that field. And within 24 hours of a good shower, you would have lost. And you have to pick up the pieces and start again. So 2 things you have to be prepared to rally back after the setbacks, and you have to be prepared to read and to learn and to make use of traditional information from people who generally farm in the area. You start in your farm, you have to make certain you establish a good relationship with your extension officer, that is your RADA extension officer. And remember one thing, treat your workers well. If you have loyal workers, you might be halfway into having a successful farm. Without loyal workers, you will never have a successful farm.
So last week, I took out a small loan to buy the latest phone model. I had to have it. Just as I'm walking out of the store, I see a Forbes list millionaire talking on a model released 5 years ago. And that's when it hit me. Rich people don't buy what poor people want. And it's not just phones. Clothes and shoes. Superstars look like real stars in their stunning designer outfits. Poor-minded people want the same, and they'll save a few paychecks or go into debt to get the celebrity look. Truly successful people focus not on price or brands, but comfort. Simple t-shirts and jeans, that's all. They're successful and confident. They don't need to prove that through their outfits. High-ticket property. Penthouses, mansions, luxury villas. So many people are ready to take out a loan and pay for it for the rest of their life if it means they can own some elaborate property. Not for the rich, They'd rather buy a nice enough place where the price is right, or they get an old fixer-upper and invest money to bring it back to life. Gadgets. Have you ever upgraded to the latest model even when your older phone was working just fine? We all do it. Some of us even take out loans or sell something to come up with the cash for a brand new super cool gadget. Why? Just to seem richer and trendier? Yet, many wealthy and successful people stick with regular phones for several years and feel great while doing it. Loans. Now, since we're on the subject, this is a repeating thing when it comes to rich versus poor. Rich people avoid debt, whether it's loans, credit cards, any kind of borrowed money for instant gratification. Poor people get into debt to pay off old loans, and it's just an endless cycle. All for the sake of having things they can't afford but want to look like they can. Just doesn't make sense. Food. Put 2 dishes on the table. One belongs to a rich person, the other someone who's low income. One plate is covered with steamed veggies, grains, maybe some boiled chicken. Overall, doesn't that look appetizing? The other, a big juicy hamburger, greasy french fries slathered in salt, mouth-watering. Guess whose plate is whose? The modest-looking meal is common for the rich. They'd rather it be bland, yet healthy and cost-effective, than delicious but bad for your gullet and your wallet. Because that makes sense. The image. You earn your first million, and then comes that irresistible urge to spend it on a flashy car, designer suit, and dinners in the most expensive restaurants. Yet even some billionaires drive an old but reliable car, use public transport, and dress like the average Joe or Jane. Such people don't need to prove anything to others. They get pleasure and confidence from what they do, and this earns them respect, not the sparkly material stuff. Get-rich-quick schemes. I'm not just talking about investing in some shady pyramid thing. It could also be seeing and paying a fortune teller or psychic, spending money on bets and lottery tickets, anything that promises instant riches and success. What's the wealthy way to predict some events? Collect all the information and analyze it. Then make an educated bet. It often works in their favor. Get-rich trainings. Do you think many rich people made it big because they went to some trainings with 5 easy steps to riches for the low price of $79.99 per sesh? And how many of those attendees didn't become rich? A successful person spends time and energy on their job, works really hard, but does it in a smart way. Because overworking yourself to the bone also isn't the way to go either. You gotta be efficient. Anyway, these How to Become Rich and Successful courses only really help their creators get rich. Okay, that's what the rich don't spend their resources on. So, what do they do with their time and money? Well, for starters, there's self-development. Not to be confused with those get-rich trainings. Yes, a wealthy person will never regret spending money on expensive courses to master some new profession or further develop an existing skill. They might also pay for fitness club memberships. This is an investment of money in oneself, and it'll pay off in any case. Either this knowledge will help you earn more money or improve your physical and mental health. Charity. Rich people give millions to different charitable foundations. Plenty of them start their own. And before you say, well, duh, they have the extra cash to do that, remember that donations aren't just financial. You can also give your time by volunteering at local charities. Why? because doing good for others makes you feel good. It can keep negative feelings away and keep you on top of your game. Just try it, you'll see. Technological development. Some very rich people feel that technological progress on Earth is completely dependent on them. With this huge feeling of responsibility, they invest lots of money, energy, and time in the development of modern technology. Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, not sure where we'd be today if not for people like them. Perhaps a little behind. Emotional wealth. Material wealth will fade over time, but emotions remain in your memory forever. That's why rich people travel so much. And I'm not talking about these Instagram-worthy beach trips staying in 5-star hotels. No, many rich travelers try to immerse themselves in the local culture. That can often mean cozy bed and breakfasts and small family-owned restaurants for a modest price. Business. You know, all those stories about people suddenly coming upon riches and blowing it all within a few months? This happens because they don't follow the main rule for capital expansion. Any money should work for you. If it's hidden under your mattress or being wasted on flashy phones, clothes, and what have you, then it's not working for you. What's much better is making your money grow on its own. Savings accounts, smart investments, your own startups. As long as you've done all the necessary calculations and research, this untouched money will only make you richer. Doing versus dreaming. Many people dream of money, visualize it, draw pictures of the luxurious life in their heads. Unfortunately, that's exactly where that dream stays, in their head. The right way is not to strive to be rich, but to become a person who's worth a lot of money. Wealth is gained by very disciplined, stubborn people who are ready to work for their goals. It can be opening your own restaurant, making that movie you've wanted to realize for years, designing a new airplane model that'll revolutionize the industry, whatever's captured your heart. While these people are out there making that goal happen, money is attracted to them automatically. And people who only think about money can spend their whole lives sitting on the couch and waiting for a miracle. Dedication. It seems like rich people's lives are so easy and fun. Just work toward your goals and live modestly. But that's far from the truth. Every minute is important in their schedule. Meetings, conferences, paperwork, the gym, family time, flights, more meetings, reading, and then you've got your basic physical needs of eating and sleeping somewhere in there. Not every person can handle the pace and all that responsibility. What's the point of being rich if you don't even have time to spend your money? Think about it. Hey, if you learned something new today, then give the video a like and share it with a friend. And here are some other cool videos I think you'll enjoy. Just click to the left or right, and remember, stay on the bright side of life.
Hello and welcome back. In this original Black Excellence presentation, we will highlight the 20 Black-owned banks and financial institutions.
Welcome to blackexcellence.com, the site where we share Black excellence, opulence, and affluence. Our mission is to inspire you as we enlighten you.
Ever since the founding of the first American bank in 1781, banking has played a critical role in facilitating the American dream. However, Black Americans have generally felt uncomfortable or unwelcome in the larger banking institutions, and many have felt that racial discrimination has played a major part in denials for mortgage loans, personal credit lines, business capital, or reasonable interest rates. Thus, the need for an alternative to these larger institutions where Black consumers are provided with greater access to capital and wider banking services, and where they feel like they are priority number one. In recent years, there has been greater emphasis on the critical role of Black-owned banks with the Bank Black movement. Not only do Black banks give the assurance that they are willing to invest in low to moderate income communities, they also set up aggressive financial literacy programs to help better educate the Black community on the importance of home ownership, investing, saving accounts, and establishing generational wealth. In this original Black Excellence presentation, we will highlight the 20 Black-owned banks, and we encourage you to participate in the Bank Black movement. This is a very proud moment for our culture as we strive to take small but significant steps toward building Black power through Black wealth. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 1. Al America Bank. This Black-owned bank provides a unique banking experience in the heart of Birmingham, Alabama. Their staff of experienced bankers is committed to providing quality and personalized service. Al America Bank offers a full array of banking services from deposit accounts to loans. Number 2. Broadway Federal Bank. Broadway Federal Bank and City First Bank of DC merged in April 2021 to create a new institution maintaining a bicoastal headquarters in both Los Angeles and Washington, D.C. Broadway was founded by a group of Black civic leaders to provide loans to minority customers, including returning veterans, who were often ignored by financial institutions or granted loans at high interest rates. Combining these two institutions has increased their capacity for investments in multifamily affordable housing, small businesses, and nonprofit development in financially underserved urban areas. Number 3. Carver Federal Savings Bank. Carver was founded to serve African American communities, and today it is committed to building wealth for its customers and to creating sustainable communities. Their mission is to assist the Black community in better understanding of the basics of banking and credit in order to achieve and retain home ownership, and in building and strengthening small businesses overall. Number 4. Carver State Bank. Carver has a tremendous heritage within the Savannah-Chatham County area as an innovative financial service leader for 85 years. Carver has been successful because of its loyal customers and the astute judgment, leadership, and hard work of its directors, management, and other employees. The Atlanta Hawks agreed to refinance a $35 million construction of their Emory Sports Medicine complex. The historic transaction was through a syndicate of Black-owned banks led by Carver State Bank. Number 5. Citizens Savings Bank. What started out as 1-cent savings bank became the first minority-owned bank in Tennessee. The institution's name was changed to the Citizens Savings Bank and Trust Company in 1920, as it still remains the oldest continuously operated Black-owned bank in the U.S. Citizens Bank puts its communities first and invests in areas underserved by the traditional banking sector, lending money for affordable housing, small businesses, and community facilities, and providing technical financial assistance to its customers. Number 6. Citizens Trust Bank. Citizens Trust Bank celebrates its 100-year legacy in 2021, built on the essence of vision, courage, and honor. This community bank was formed in Atlanta to emphasize the importance of fiscal responsibility, thriftiness, home ownership, and equal access and equality in financial services for all. Today, Citizens Trust Bank is one of the country's oldest and most firmly established community banks, yet the team is adaptable to stay relevant in a rapidly changing environment. Thanks to the hashtag #BankBlack social media campaign in July 2016, more than 8,000 new accounts were opened at their branch in just 1 week. Number 7. Columbia Savings and Loan. This bank has been serving commercial and individual accounts in Milwaukee, Wisconsin by offering loans for homes and businesses, as well as personal loans. Their full-service office can help you allocate and grow your investments in a secure bank. Columbia Savings and Loan Association stands as a guiding light for progress in the Black community, providing a viable opportunity for minorities to apprentice in banking and business, as well as the mortgage loans for families that wish to obtain their dream home. Number 8. Commonwealth National Bank. This is a full-service nationally chartered commercial bank headquartered in the city of Mobile. Commonwealth's asset size is roughly $60 million. They offer free online banking with no minimum daily balance required and a variety of business accounts designed to help you maximize your banking experience. Number 9. First Independence Bank. This Black-owned, state-chartered commercial bank is the 7th largest Black-owned bank in the United States. It started out with a mission of capital accumulation for individuals and business entities by delivering financial services to the underserved and minority communities. Still today, First Independence Bank prioritizes services to the Black community. They offer a variety of high-quality banking services from managing account to personal loans, mortgages, consumer education, and investments. Number 10. First Security Bank. The Security Trust and Savings Bank first opened for business in 1903. 26 years later, it merged with the First National Bank of Charles City, creating the first security bank and trust. As a true community bank through both the economic booms and the bust, First Security continues to create uncommon value for our customers and pursue a brighter vision for our community. During the COVID-19 pandemic, this bank was among Iowa's top 10 participating banks in the SBA's Paycheck Protection Program, supporting local small businesses hardest hit by the subsequent economic lockdowns.
Montanno's Chocolate Company Limited, where soca icon Michael Montanno is the brand ambassador, is working on opening a chocolate factory in the near future. The family-owned business started its chocolate business in 2014 and has since been selling their 60% dark chocolate bars as a Carnival and Valentine's Day promotion, particularly at the popular Marshall Monday concert. But director at the company, Marshall's mother, Elizabeth Montanno, says they have been working on expanding the business.
We had to put capital into it. And this is where the Ministry of Trade came in, and we were able to be successful so that we are going to be able to get our equipment very soon and open our factory. My bigger son, Marcus Montanno, is the one who is building the factory and who is in charge of the factory. Masha is in charge of marketing the product.
Ms. Montanno adds that due to the pandemic, Marshall has been putting in the extra effort towards marketing the business and product.
Recently, again, thanks to COVID, I have him at home, so he was able to really delve into the chocolate business and into cocoa, so that he has started marketing and promoting the industry.
Montanno's Chocolate Company Limited currently only exports its product to Canada, but is now looking at other export opportunities in Latin America.
when the colonizers were leaving the continent between 1958 and 1961, France did something that was just downright terrible. Made the African leaders sign what they call the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. France made the Francophone countries sign the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. Allow me to highlight a few of the items in the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization, and I urge all of you to Google it and read it, and if that does not disgust you, I don't know what will. First, the French said, well, you see, we built a few schools, a few roads, a few hospitals, taught you about the fork and knife and sitting on a table and eating with utensils. We're going to call that the colonial debt. And for that you shall pay to perpetuity. In addition, you will deposit 85% of your bank reserves with the Minister of Finance, the French Minister of Finance. Collectively, the Minister of Finance, the French Minister of Finance will take all your deposits. It was 85% back then. It's now down to about 60. The French minister will invest that money in the French Stock Exchange under the French name. You may or may not know the returns. Today, France is taking out of Africa, Francophone Africa, over $500 billion. Over $500 billion. We, the Africans, the poor countries, we're giving France over $500 billion a year in, year out. And no one is talking about it. The latest figures are saying for every $14 billion that France takes out of Africa, by the time they finish investing it, they're realizing upwards of $300 billion for every $14 billion. So in actuality, France is taking out of Africa trillions of dollars year in, year out. Should any of those countries wish to access some of their own money that they deposited with France, they have to submit their own financial reports for the country. And if approved, they can only access up to 20% of that money as a loan at commercial interest rates. Figure that one out. That is our reality. It gets better. They were also told that if you need any military equipment, you can only purchase it from France. Your military can only be trained by France. That France will have military presence in your own country and can invade you without notice should they feel French interests are being violated. Language of instruction shall be French. All your minerals discovered, yet to be discovered, France has the first right of refusal. All the contracts, big contracts, private and public, French companies have the first right of refusal. Now, my brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, if you were to go home and run for president, and your first day in office, your chief of staff comes to you and says, oh, by the way, Mr. President, Madam President, before you start, I must read you the do's and don'ts as stipulated by the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. And your chief of staff reads this to you. What power do you have? This is precisely what our colonizers wanted. To leave us in a position that no matter how hard we try, trying to get a leg up is mission impossible.
Sweet potatoes are a particular type of potatoes, from the same order as regular ones, with the difference that they are part of different species, and a different family. You can find sweet potatoes in a variety of colors. The most frequently found are the ones with white cream and yellow-orange color. There are also sweet potatoes with purple flesh, and they are extremely abundant in antioxidants. The most important thing about them is that they have excellent nutritional values. 15 nutritious facts. 1. Sweet potatoes are an excellent choice for diabetics, since they contain natural sugars that decrease and stabilize the insulin resistance in diabetics. They are also good for the regulation of the sugar levels. 2. Sweet potatoes are rich in dietary fibers, which are good for digestion. They also prevent colon cancer and help with constipation. 3. Sweet potatoes contain carotenoids, which help in producing vitamin A. This vitamin regenerates the respiratory system. So, people with respiratory problems, especially smokers, should consume sweet potatoes more often. 4. Vitamin D is also contained in sweet potatoes. This vitamin is good for the teeth, heart, skin, bones, energy levels, as well as for the normal function of the thyroid gland. 5. In general, there can be an improvement of the heart functioning with the help of the potassium. This vitamin lowers the impact of the sodium, regulates blood pressure, and makes a balance of the electrolytes. The sweet potato has vitamin B6 that prevents heart attacks, strokes, and degenerative diseases. 6. The potassium in the sweet potatoes is good for healthy tissues and muscles. It also helps in reducing swelling and cramps, provides with energy, and relaxes the muscles. It also regulates heartbeats and nerve signals. 7. Beta-carotene in the sweet potato acts like an antioxidant. It helps with arthritis, gout, and asthma, protects against lung and breast cancer, and it also reduces aging effects. 8. Since sweet potatoes are rich in folic acid, they are a great source of folic for healthy fetal development. Pregnant women should consume more sweet potatoes. 9. The potassium content in potatoes increases the flow of oxygen, regulates the balance of the body's water, and normalizes the heartbeats. The magnesium content, on the other hand, acts as an anti-stress agent. 10. Vitamin C is crucial for the entire body's function, and sweet potatoes have abundance of it. 11. Sweet potatoes are also rich in iron, that has a crucial role in the producing of red and white blood cells. That's why they help against anemia. 12. Did you know that you can use the water from the boiled potatoes for treating your skin? Especially for irritation of the skin, cleaning the pores, and absorbing impurities. The vitamin C contained in the sweet potato will produce collagen, while the vitamin E will help in the improvement of the complexion of the skin. Anthocyanins will help you in removing wrinkles and purifying the dark circles around the eyes. 13. If you suffer from painful premenstrual symptoms, the iron and manganese in sweet potatoes will soothe them. 14. Having problems with damaged hair and dandruff? The beta-carotene will prevent them, and it will also stimulate hair growth. 15. Since sweet potatoes have an abundance of the vitamins vital for the enzyme, protein, and carbohydrate metabolism, you should consume them more often. However, you need to consult a doctor if you have ever had oxalate urinary tract stones,